Major League Baseball expansion talk is running rampant across the big leagues. Who knows where Major League Baseball is going to end up next, but we have to agree that there should be at least two more teams with the state of baseball and the increasing attendance and the increasing viewership. So last time I gave a bunch of different cities that I thought would be perfect for Major League Baseball. You guys came back with all kinds of comments and ideas. I took the time to go through all of those comments, comment back to you, and I think we've got some more cities to consider. So let's go check them out. Let's go. First one up that was very, very popular was Salt Lake City, Utah. And when you take a look at the populations in Salt Lake City, it does make some sense. Salt Lake City itself has a population of 200,000. The area has 1.2 million people. But those who commented told me about the Wasatch Front. And the Wasatch Front has 2.6 million people in the area at a median income of $33,000 per year. So this makes a lot of sense for Major League Baseball. It would be a brand new area. When people worry about elevations like I do when I start to look at this, the elevation is 4,330 feet at Salt Lake City. That is less than Denver, Colorado, and that was what I consider to be qualified. You have to be an elevation less than Denver. When you look at some of the past experiences, though, with baseball, at the AAA level last year, the Salt Lake Bees ranked 18th in all of the minor leagues in terms of attendance. That's not bad, but it's not great either. I'm not sure what baseball would do at Salt Lake City. I think it could be very, very good. What my concern has been with Salt Lake City is the type of sponsorship and the type of big companies that would be there to support a major league franchise. That's not to say it can't be done with some lower end businesses and whatnot in the local area, but you need something very, very big to maintain that sponsorship. Now, the owner of the Utah Jazz has been very outspoken and saying he wants to bring another professional sport to Salt Lake City. He's talked about the NHL and he's talked about Major League Baseball. I see only one of the two happening. I right now think there's a better chance the National Hockey League goes there with the Arizona Coyotes. So I'm going to stay out of Salt Lake City, but I do think it would be a good place for Major League Baseball to consider. Another popular opinion was Austin, Texas. My first initial thought was San Antonio. I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Austin, and you look at the population, 965,000. That's very, very good for right in Austin. The area has 2.3 million people. That's nearly double of the Salt Lake City area, minus the Wasatch Front. A $41,000 median income makes a lot of sense. Elevation was non-issue in Austin. The issue that came up with Austin is people talking about transportation and the real lack of a proper highway system in the area. Yes, that could be an issue, but that type of thing can always be kind of funded away, and big time owners with big time money tend to be able to make those types of plays very quickly and get things figured out. Now, it would take time to build a stadium anyway, so it would be wonder if they could get the proper transportation routes done in Austin. They also have a AAA team there with the Round Rock Express. That team ranks 25th in all the minors in terms of attendance. That is also kind of scary, given that's less than Salt Lake, even though it's a bigger, crowded area. So I'm not sure if Austin would support it or not. I do think San Antonio still is a better option. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. But Austin has to be considered. It's one of the fastest growing cities across the United States. So it definitely should be considered as an option. I just don't know if it's better than places like San Antonio. Our third one up on this list is Orlando, Florida, and Orlando really seems to be pushing hard for a Major League Baseball team. They've been throwing out designs in terms of stadiums. They've been throwing out names of teams and all that around in the area. You look at the area, 310,000 is the population, but 2.6 million people in the metro area, 30,200 in terms of the median income. The question I have with Orlando is the fact they've never had baseball before in Orlando at any minor league level. So I don't know how it fit in terms of a major league team. We've seen attendance issues in Miami with the Marlins, in St. Petersburg with the Tampa Bay Rays. They need to have the stadium in the absolute perfect spot, and they need to generate baseball interest in Florida. And I don't see there being enough baseball interest in Florida. I don't want to see an expansion team going to Orlando. What I would rather see is the Rays moving up to Orlando and seeing if that works better. Because of the attendance issues, if they're willing to build the proper stadium, that makes more sense to me. I don't want to see an expansion team being brought in and 5 years from now it failing because there's no interest for baseball in the area. Orlando does not strike me as a baseball interested town. If you disagree with me, comment down below. But I think Orlando would be better suited for a team moving in there to generate more interest in a quicker time frame. Next up on my list is Sacramento, California. Sacramento came up a couple times in the comments. The concern with it was, would the San Francisco Giants allow it, given that they've knocked this area in the past. They want it kept as a Giants region. But you look at Sacramento, it does make a lot of sense. 525,000 people in terms of population, 2.2 in the million in the metro area. Median income, $33,500, which is decent. The elevation is a non-issue. My concern with Sacramento is interest in baseball, though. Minor league attendance from the Sacramento River Cats last season, 36th in all of the minor leagues. That is very, very poor. I question whether this is an oversaturated market in terms of minor league teams as well, with so many in the area. The Giants are kind of kings in that area in NorCal. I don't know if Sacramento really would work out that way. I think it's an interesting option. I do think there would be some passion for another professional sports team in the area, given that it's really just the Sacramento Kings. But again, is baseball really going to work out in Northern California given everything else in the area? And I don't know if that works. And you see it with the AAA attendance numbers. I'm not sure it works in Sacramento, but it certainly is an interesting option for Major League Baseball to consider if there's a big-time owner in the area. Now, last time I threw out Charlotte, North Carolina as an option, and it's a very good option. And I was given some good ideas for other areas to potentially look at. Charlotte has the AAA Knights, who are very good in terms of attendance, 7th in the entire minor league system. They're in the White Sox system. Now, what could be happening here is we could maybe move a AAA team out to bring in a major league team in North Carolina, in Charlotte. And there's some very interesting cities in the area to kind of connect with it. When you look at places like Raleigh, which has a metro of 1.6 million, Charleston, South Carolina, I would look at, as well as Richmond, Virginia. All three are kind of in the area, and I could see a team potentially growing into an A-ball, AA ball, AAA ball system around Charlotte. I would love to see that across Major League Baseball. A lot of these teams have minor league teams in great distances from their professional facilities. I would love to see some minor league teams grouped together with their major league team and kept all in a very distinct area. I think this could work out very well if you combine the likes of Charlotte with Raleigh, Charleston, and Richmond. And there's already some minor league teams here you could actually just transfer over. In Raleigh, there is no minor league team, but Charleston has the River Dogs. They're with Tampa Bay. They were 56th in minor league attendance last year. And Richmond, Virginia has the Flying Squirrels as part of San Francisco, which really doesn't fit San Francisco. They were 15th in the minor league attendance numbers. I think it'd be very cool to see in a very tight-knit window in the United States. I could see 4 professional teams, the major league team with the 3 minor league teams working out very, very well and attracting a very distinct audience and having people travel in more often to see the major league team as well as supporting the minor league teams more often. It was an idea that was thrown out. I think it's a great idea for Major League Baseball to consider. Next up, we have Peyton Manning's favorite town, Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha's attendance at 490,000, a metro area of 1 million people. That's not very high. But what we do know that exists in Omaha is a passion for baseball, because that is where the College World Series takes place every year. And there are some big time companies, Fortune 500 companies in Omaha and in Nebraska that could really support a team. They do have a AAA team, the Omaha Storm Chasers, who ranked 51st in all of attendance in Kansas City. But I could see this being a very unique market for Major League Baseball because there really isn't a professional team in the area. If you went to Omaha, Nebraska, yes, you're kind of battling against the College World Series idea, but what a stadium they could build combined with the College World Series that could feature there in a brand new stadium with an expansion Major League Baseball team. I think this would be a great location for Major League Baseball to consider. I'm actually very high on this idea. I think it fits very well. I was surprised when it got brought up in the comments. The more and more I think of it, the better I think it could be for Major League Baseball. So Omaha is moving quickly up my list for possible expansion locations. Another AAA venue place, Indianapolis, Indiana, home of the Indianapolis Indians, the AAA team for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They draw very well at the minor league level. They were 5th in minor league baseball attendance last year. 885,000 people, 2.1 million in the metro area. This is a very good sports area in Indianapolis. You have the Colts there with the NFL. You have the Pacers there with basketball. I think baseball could fit well. I would worry about getting blocked out by the other two because basketball and football are really enriched in the culture in Indiana. So I don't know if professional baseball could break through as much, but given the way the AAA team has been supported, maybe this would be a good option for Major League Baseball to consider as well. If you can get the right ownership who does it the right way, it could really thrive in Indianapolis. So I think Major League Baseball needs to consider this area as well. My suggestion of Calgary, Alberta, Canada went pretty well in the last video. However, people still want me to talk about Vancouver, Canada in British Columbia. When you look at Vancouver, 675,000 in terms of population, 2.5 million in the metro area, $61,000 median income in terms of US dollars. Now, what I don't like about Vancouver is a very expensive place, and professional franchises have failed in Vancouver before. The Vancouver Grizzlies moved out from National Basketball Association because they were not working out. The CFL, Canadian Football League's BC Lions, have almost folded a couple of times. There just isn't the same type of passion in terms of professional sports in Vancouver, and I don't really understand why. The other issue is where to build a stadium. Vancouver is one of the most expensive places to live in all of Canada and has a terrible housing market right now. They are not building any houses. Part of it is because they don't have any land and they have foreign investors kind of blocking everything as it's going on. So I don't know where you'd build the stadium. I don't know where you'd find the land to build the stadium. So Vancouver makes me worried because if you had to build a stadium further outside the city, it's going to be very tough to support that team. So for me, Vancouver doesn't make as much sense. I think it's a good area for baseball to consider. The Vancouver Canadians, the A-ball team for the Toronto Blue Jays, have done well in the past. But I think part of that is because they're associated with the Blue Jays and Canada. I don't know how well a distinct team would do in Vancouver, but it does need to be considered if the right ownership and the right location for a stadium can be found. Oklahoma City was also thrown out as a possible idea. You look at the population, 690,000, 1.4 million in the metro area. It's already home to the Dodgers AAA affiliate, so I don't know if Oklahoma City really works out. The population makes me seem that this is just a minor league baseball area, and even one that's not hugely supported. Given the talent the Dodgers typically have at AAA, I'd expect better minor league attendance numbers in Oklahoma City. I don't see that happening here. I think in the long run, Oklahoma City is a nice idea, but it's probably a minor league area at best. And our last one that we have to consider internationally, I know people brought up the idea of Japan and London, but I think those are pipe dreams that are 10 years at least away. So the only other international type place that was brought up that I could really potentially see happening is Monterey, Mexico. And the reason why I bring up Monterey, the elevation is 1,770 feet. That is nowhere near what Mexico City is. So I would favor Monterey over Mexico City, in part because of the elevation. And we saw what happened to Padres and Giants when they went to Mexico City. It basically became a launching pad because of the elevation. So that doesn't work for me in terms of Major League Baseball. However, Monterey with the lower elevation, you look at it, it's only 140 miles to the U.S. border, 1.1 million people, 5.1 million people in the area. I worry about the median income being only $17,000 US a year. So I don't know if the money is there. I don't know if the sponsorship in terms of big companies would be there. But in terms of an international city and Major League Baseball breaking into Mexico, I could see Monterey as being a decent option to look at. Now, is it going to work out there? I don't know. But Monterey is one of those places that does need to be talked about if Major League Baseball is going to grow this game internationally into places like Puerto Rico or Mexico, or build on the locations in Japan and London, all the success they've had with these one-off series in these different locations. So Monterey should definitely be considered by Major League Baseball. As far as things go on this list, the two that I kind of favor the most on this list are Omaha and Austin, Texas. I like the idea of Charlotte as well, if we're going to talk about kind of shortening the distances in minor league teams from the major league complexes. So Charlotte, from the previous video, actually moves up on my list. So I like the idea of combining it with Raleigh, Charleston, Richmond, some of those locations like that. But on one-off type locations, I kind of like the idea of Omaha, and I like the idea of Austin, Texas as my top two. Thank you so much for making all of it in the video. Down in the description below is the link to part 1 of my videos here. As well, make sure you like and comment on my video where you think Major League Baseball should go to. As always, we're trying to build as fast as we can, so if you're interested in this kind of content, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate all the subscriptions I get. The channel's been growing very quickly, so I appreciate all the support. As always, check me out on your mobile device as well, where I put up comments and polls on the community tab on the YouTube section as well. Make sure you go check out some of my previous videos, including the worst contracts in baseball. Until next time, take care, everyone.